All right, we're ready. We're good to go.
Episode 6, R&K.
Welcome back.
We missed you. The fact that we're even recording this the weekend before finals.
We have a lot to do.
Yeah.
But we're taking a mental break.
Yes, because we need one.
Even though we went and had lunch together. That was a mental break enough.
Sometimes you need an extended break.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm Riley.
I'm Katie.
And we're R&K.
So, before we get into our episode, first things first, R&K moment of the week.
I would say mine was probably finishing a presentation similar to you and just being done with it. Granted, I do have a research essay to write alongside of that, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. We take baby steps here.
Mm-hmm.
My R&K moment was Riley over
Okay.
Anyways, my R&K moment of the week is that Riley and I went and got lunch right before this. It's been a crazy week, and I feel like we say this every episode, but that's just the reality of college and school. I had a huge presentation that my team and I have been working on for the entire semester, so the stakes were high. We presented to an actual client. But it went so well. I actually really enjoyed the presentation. Not the process before that, though. That was very stressful. So it was nice to go out. We tried this new restaurant that opened up in Malibu called Zinc.
Mm-hmm. Zinque.
Yeah, very good food, very fresh. I tried a matcha. We both got like a bowl with chicken and rice.
Arugula, tomatoes, parmesan. It's called Le Bowl.
Le Bowl.
It was phenomenal, actually.
And the waiters that would bring it out, they were like Italian or something, and they said it with their Italian accent. And it was great.
Right.
Anyways,
Drink time. Let's do it. I've been looking forward to this.
I love our little pink theme. That's very cute.
I have tried this flavor many times. I've not reviewed it yet, so that's why I got it today. Olipop strawberry vanilla. It's my favorite Olipop flavor. And if you are kind of familiar with either surfing, longboarding, things of that nature,
No.
I know you don't correlate it to this, but if you have smelled, is it Zegs or Zigs?
I have no idea.
It's like the Surf Sex Wax brand. It's very popular. They have like this original scent. This is exactly what if that smell had a taste, it would taste like this. So we're gonna do that.
Take that with a grain of salt, please. I strongly disagree with what you're saying.
Do you have that thing where it's your smell and your taste are connected? It's a scientific name, and I learned about it, and I don't remember what it's called.
I don't know.
Well, that's what I have. I can smell the Children's Discovery Museum back home. I can taste that in the very specific kind of sprinkles.
Well, I feel like you saying that, I think maybe 0.01% of the world knows what that smells like and would potentially taste like.
Well, the thing is, it's so popular, they've made car air fresheners out of the scent.
If I was rating that drink, this is what I would say. If you have ever tried a pink drink, this is what it tastes like, but carbonated version.
You know, I like that too.
Okay. Give it a taste.
All right. Very much like a pink drink. Fizz this time, I would say, is about a 7. 7.5. Fizz is pretty poppin'. Taste, 10.
Yes, I and Riley can testify. I do not like strawberry flavored things.
You don't like the strawberry lemon poppy. That one's one of my favorites.
Yeah, but this Olipop flavor is out of this world. It's incredible. So I also agree. The flavor's 10 out of 10.
This has been the longest intro.
It has
ever,
been.
But most of that is just us laughing at nothing.
Yeah. Well, first, last episode we tried the United Sodas of America, and we had another flavor. So I'm gonna give that a try. It's called White Grape.
This I think is going to be a good one.
Yeah. I have no idea. I wasn't very lucky last time.
Mm-mm.
Mm. Oh,
Yeah?
it reminds me of something. There's like a certain grape flavored candy. But I will say it does have a slight
Jolly
artificial.
Rancher?
Yes! That's exactly what it is.
It's a very light Jolly Rancher. It's not like bursting with flavor. It's very light.
Yeah, but it's like that purple
Mhm.
Jolly Rancher
That
flavor.
tastes yummy.
I do like it. I like it better than cherry, I think.
Mhm. I think peach has so far been both of our favorites.
I agree. It's very refreshing,
Mhm.
and it's not too sweet, which
Mhm.
I really, really like.
Yeah.
It has black carrot.
Love that.
Whatever that means. Anyways,
Moving on.
we finally made it through the
So,
intro.
We're going to cut a lot of that out because God bless us for not being able to get it together.
It's okay. It's been a long
not
week.
me opening my XFiz notes. Not this time. What
So
are you doing?
today, Google. Yes, Google Docs.
Google. We will be talking about realities of living in LA and specifically living in LA alone.
Yes, and we do want to say this. Since you've clicked on the episode, which is our goal, we will say that we don't live in LA.
We live in Malibu. Close.
It's 30 minutes outside, which I would be surprised, or I was surprised by how many people don't know where Malibu is.
Me too.
But it's 30 minutes north of LA, right on the coast.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, Malibu it's all along a road that goes down the coast.
Yeah.
I think, well, like the goal of this episode is just kind of to reflect on what we've seen, because we both come from very different places. Even though I'm from California, Sacramento is completely different. It's a whole other vibe. It sometimes feels like you live in a village, even though Sacramento is the capital of California.
I forget that.
Me too. I do too.
Why did they do that?
I don't know. I used to know the reason. I forgot what it was. But anyways, we wanted to reflect on that and kind of combine that with our experiences living alone, away from home. It's both of our first times. Well, you lived 30 minutes away from home?
Yeah, my freshman year of college, I lived 30 minutes from home and saw my parents like every other weekend when I needed groceries.
Yeah, nice. That would be nice. But yeah, so I feel like we have a lot to say, especially about LA. And if you like conspiracy theories, get your popcorn. We're going to dive into that a little bit.
Excited.
That was not intentional. When we were planning this, we didn't want to talk about conspiracy theories, but it somehow came up because we were talking about LA. Yeah.
All right.
So I guess the basic, most stereotypical. Yeah. We'll dip our feet in the water. LA is very materialistic.
Yeah. It often, I would say, a strong 8 out of 10 people you meet, it seems like it's very surface level, and just kind of in general, it's hard to connect with people, even though people say that LA is one of the best places to network. I think in business it can be true, but only if you have found your footing and already kind of have a foundation in LA, because if you don't know anyone and if you don't have the connections, I don't think you're going to be able to put yourself out there as easily. Like, you're going to have to grind, for real grind.
Yeah. I think with the help of Pepperdine and having, first of all, being kind of forced to make friends, but also Pepperdine's very supportive with teaching you how to network and where to network and how to do all of that. At least in my case, but being a business major, it's helpful. If I didn't have Pepperdine, I do not know how I would survive in LA.
Yeah. Everyone knows LA is very expensive, but I don't think that you realize how much of an impact that it has on your lifestyle unless you live here. And that I think one of the reasons why we're even doing this episode is because everyone romanticizes LA, and even we sometimes do, but
Yeah.
it's hard to know unless you live here.
Yeah, and I mean, I do want to say that living here is an absolute dream.
Yeah.
Like, there are many great things about LA and Malibu, but I think I did have this kind of romanticized image in my mind that I would be going out all the time, doing all these fun things, being able to go and shop. And it's like, if you don't come from an insanely rich family who sends you money every week, you can't really do that.
When you're spending $100 on gas tank,
Mm-hmm.
no, I don't want to go buy this $50 basic shirt.
Yeah, and groceries, that adds up.
Yeah.
It's just expense after expense out here.
I also think that there's a false narrative about California and how everyone says that Cali is very green in terms of like environmental and things like that. And I don't think that that's as true as people think that it is. I think,
Yeah.
especially SoCal and more specifically LA, it's very, very dirty and not trashy is the wrong word, but just very, it's not green. It's gross.
Yeah, it was last weekend. Riley and I actually went out to the city. We usually stay in Malibu, but we drove out and went to Disney downtown with a friend. And every single time I get there, I'm thrown off by the traffic, the dirtiness, and like the busyness, and just,
The trash, the
yeah,
homelessness, that part is terrible in itself. Just the amount of shopping carts filled with junk and tents, and um, it's just kind of wild, and you don't feel safe either, which we'll get into that. But
yeah. And I live 2 hours away from San Francisco. San Francisco is insanely bad right now, and it's just a lot of cities are going downhill, which is very sad.
um, I think we said that the realities really set in once you live here. You know, I romanticized it a lot because I was born here and I really wanted to come back and experience it as, an older person, a young adult. And then you get here, and obviously the parts are amazing. And then there are some parts that are just like, wow, did not expect that.
Yeah. I think another thing is when you work here and you go to school here, that's the majority of your life. And for example, I would go to Huntington Beach every summer for vacation. My experience is completely different. And I used to do that before I moved here, and I would just be like, oh my gosh, this would be my life. Me going on walks at the beach every day, swimming. You do have days when you do that, but the reality is you're always running around. Like, being a student at Pepperdine, you are extremely busy always. And I'm sure it's other universities. I just have nothing to compare it to.
Well, I can definitely compare.
Okay, there you go.
And it's not the same.
Yeah, it's just very extreme, and I think because of the busyness and just packed schedule, you don't get to realize how great this place is. At least Malibu is.
Yeah. I think just to touch on like the differences between, I don't really remember if I discussed this to a greater extent on our first or second episode, but even if you're taking, say, like a 12 unit semester, which I've done in the past, I've done it both at UTC and here, it's still completely different. I'm so much more busy here than I ever was back home. And I think Pepperdine is known for its rigor in academia. And so that's just, I definitely didn't expect. I was like, oh yeah, Pepperdine's going to be hard. Well,
this is another level.
Yeah. But I think one thing too, not necessarily going back to materialistic, but just meeting people in general, I feel like people don't have much respect for you unless you know them and have earned it, which I feel like I'm that way to an extent. Excuse me. But not like it is here. It's very like, I'm not going to say hi to you or tell you the time because I don't know you and don't have respect for you. And it's just very judgy, and then
Yeah.
I'm a better than you mentality.
Yeah. I think if you don't come with any benefits,
Yes, because people want to use you.
yeah, it's hard to find genuine people. I even see that a lot in people at school. Even though everyone at school comes from all over the place, we have
Mm-hmm.
international students, we have students from the East Coast, like,
Mm-hmm.
and it very different. Like, even people in the East Coast are very different from people
Mm-hmm.
on the West Coast. But still, I maybe it's something about which I do agree. When you live here, you adapt and you become part of the LA culture.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so even at school, some people are just so um, I don't know, they really care about what
They're
their
gaining
image
from
is
you.
and like yeah, and what they could get from those around them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was just reminded of whenever we have Aiden on our podcast. I cannot wait to talk
Oh.
about. So, just to preface, we're going to have someone on who I've been friends with since seventh grade. And he also lives out here and he works for an incredible director. And I definitely, like, both of us can talk about how people have tried to use him
Mm-hmm.
and just like from our high school, like, act like they're friends with him. And I'm like, you have not spoken to him since either graduation or you say hi on a birthday.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, you're not.
Yeah, there was this one time I was in one of my classes and it was the beginning of the semester, so we're getting to know um, our classmates. And this professor, she really wanted us to get deep with each other and like connect. And I don't remember exactly what the question was, but one of the people who I was sitting with said, if I know that I will never see this person, I don't even acknowledge them or like put in effort to talk to them. And I was like, what kind of mindset is that?
That's also crazy to just say that and not in a private setting. Like that was a group setting.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And it, when he said that, I was like, okay, it makes sense. There's just people who genuinely don't want to be around you if they know that you bring nothing to the table. But like, how do they know if they don't have a conversation
I
with
guess
you?
predetermined
Who knows?
notions.
I could be the president's daughter.
I think that it's a great place to visit or vacation, but I think after living here, I would not want to stay permanently. It would be somewhere I'd retire, um, get a vacation home if possible.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about getting either a joint vacation home
Yeah.
or just taking vacations together. But
If I get a house out here, or if we get a house out here, I'd do it in Orange County.
yeah.
Especially because Riley and I want to do business out here.
Mm-hmm.
So it would just be, it makes so much sense to have a place out here together.
I guess for me, and you might also feel this way, but LA normalizes a lot of things that
Should not be
I
normalized.
do not align with morally. I think things like hookup culture, um, excessive drug alcohol use, and just not being kind, like unchristian, like morals,
Mm.
and you just are not acting like a stand up good person. And that's very normalized. Like all of this stuff is just either pushed and like, oh, you should be doing this, or I don't know. I just don't think that. I mean, that's just not for me.
Yeah.
I don't like sit and judge people who do any of these things. It's just, well, maybe if you're not kind, I'll judge you. But yeah, it's not for me.
Yeah. And I mean, being a kind person should be a normal thing for everyone, you know? And
Yeah.
one thing that we kind of talked about and wanted to get into a little deeper is, and this is a little personal and deep, but when you are around this kind of environment, you start to adapt into that. And there were moments when I would go back home and I found myself not having as much patience for certain people or like even going out to a restaurant. I'm just like, why are they doing, yeah, like, oh my gosh, did you just mess up my order? Like, I found myself thinking that way and reacting that way, and it scared me a little bit.
Yeah, and I think being more specific on what I don't think is okay with hookup culture specifically, like outside of myself. I think things like that have caused young women to act older than they are at a faster rate. I mean, in LA, you will see 13-year-olds walking around with their butt hanging out and just like insane crop tops. I'm like, you're 12.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
And then,
Where is your mother?
yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's like because their parents grow up here, everything
It's
is just so
normalized.
normal and you can be whoever you want to be and all these things, you
I
know?
wore those really ugly knee-high plaid shorts,
I know exactly
the
what you're talking
chuggy
about.
little. It's like,
Justice
where are the
t-shirts.
kids? Why is that not? I don't know. They're just
I
growing up too fast. Social
I
media, hookup culture. It's like it's all
yeah.
affecting kids.
You know what I realized? I have not seen a kids clothing store in a very long time. Are those still a thing?
Oh, back home, yeah, absolutely. Haven't
Hmm,
seen one here.
I haven't either.
12-year-old shopping at Brandy Melville to get a little
Tiny crop
tiny
top,
crop top.
tank top. Oh gosh.
So, kind of going off of a little bit of the toxicity and normalizing things in LA, I really, well, I don't even think, I know for a fact that there is an insane amount of like toxicity in Hollywood and celebrity culture.
Oh, she
And
said it.
you can go in so many different directions with this, how people idolize celebrities and how that's a bad thing. And
That is so, so toxic, and I don't think people understand how bad that is. I mean, even if you look at it biblically, one of the commandments is literally to not have any other gods.
yeah,
And I don't think people realize that idolizing celebrities is a
it's the same
form
thing.
of worshiping a god.
Yeah. And another thing that we talked about was the kind of overwhelming feeling of just darkness around LA. And I wrote down a specific example being whenever I'm pretty sure I was with you. I don't really go into LA unless I'm with you. But driving past the Church of Scientology, even when it's during the day, it just looks dark and it feels dark and it just feels heavy
Yeah.
spiritually. It doesn't feel right. Um,
We have one in Sac that I walk by often when I'm in downtown, and it's very dark
yeah,
and very weird. And you see people in there, and you're like, why are you in there?
this is such a niche thing. When I worked at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse 2 summers ago, one of the other people I worked with told me this whole story about Scientology and how she had stuff happen in like her dreams, which I totally related to, but I was like, this is insane. Anyways, but I think also with that, we talked about sex trafficking and how it's
Yeah.
a huge thing where we are. And I mean, places back home
I mean,
near Atlanta,
yeah,
but
it's going
here
on
is.
everywhere. If whoever hasn't seen this movie, go watch it. It's called Sound of Freedom.
Mm,
It came out in
either
this,
beginning of this year
yeah,
or
something
maybe
like
during the
that.
summer.
It was such an eye-opening movie, and it just proves that this is so real and that people don't take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
People still choose to believe that it's not going
Mm-hmm.
on, but it really is.
And just another thing, celebrities in general talking about. I mean, it's especially in the last, I would say, 10 years, it's become more prevalent. Celebrities talking about selling their souls, doing like blood binding contracts, demons, things like that. Oh, and Illuminati, which everyone is like, everyone jokes about the Illuminati, but I think with celebrities, it's like an actual issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then when there have been lots of celebrities that have tried to come forward and speak out against and they mysteriously die, that's a conspiracy theory in quotes, because people will say it's a conspiracy theory, but there's evidence to show that, okay, well, why did they just magically disappear or
Yeah.
commit suicide, you know?
Yeah, I am a little skeptical about conspiracy
Mm-hmm.
theories, but Riley has told me about this one, and it actually makes sense. And there's just a pattern
Mm-hmm.
with
And
this.
and it's all connected to like sex trafficking and stuff. Going back to Disney, we went to downtown Disney this past weekend, and I told both you and Aiden that the amount of kids that disappear at Disney is remarkable, and they don't do anything about it. And there's this great documentary that has gone viral on TikTok, and it's been taken off of YouTube a million times. It's called Out of Shadows, and I can link it. It's so eye opening. It talks about Disney, it talks about the CIA, government, mind control, elite pedophilia, all of that stuff. And it's insanely interesting. Like, you're just sitting there and you're like, what is going on?
Yeah. I think just with that, the second that people get money and power, they lose control
Yeah.
of their
I
minds
mean,
in
how
a
much
way.
money and power do you want is the
Yeah.
question.
And it's like, I think once you get a taste of that, you want more of it. And then you find out that, oh, I could get more money if I sell kids to
Basically,
pedophiles.
man,
Um,
Ellen DeGeneres, crazy.
yeah. Which, is there proof that that's real?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I should do another PowerPoint night, but make it more in depth, because mine was kind of vague the last time. I mean, it's the same thing. Everyone knows about the Maui fires, and there are a lot of native Hawaiians that are saying that this was not an accident. And how is it a coincidence that people who own so much land in Hawaii, like Oprah, the Obamas, none of their land was touched? And something that's really popular in Hawaii is either politicians or just celebrities in general will buy a bunch of land in Hawaii and use it for whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
food for thought.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Does
that
Oprah really want to buy you a car?
we will never know. Anyways,
Every time I talk about conspiracies, I get all hot, and I'm like, I can feel my cheeks warming up. I'm so passionate about it.
Riley, just please let us know if you want Riley to do a solo episode
I
of
will.
conspiracy
We'll do a poll
theories.
or something, and
Yeah.
people will let us know.
Let's do that. We're just moving away from conspiracy theories, but talking about LA. I noticed that LA is very career driven.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone here is so passionate about what they're doing, and I feel like they don't have any limits in their mind to what they can do. And I personally find that very inspiring, because I do come from a culture that I wouldn't necessarily say looks down on, but they're not very.
It's not popular.
Yeah, it's not very popular to, chase a career. And I really enjoy being surrounded by people who are striving for greatness and success in their career. That's been very awesome to be surrounded by.
Yeah.
I've been living here for a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, next week is our last week of fall semester, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, we've been living here for a while, and I feel like I've learned a lot.
Same.
Living out here. I think just living away from home, it forces you to consider things that you never considered when you lived with your parents. Like, you don't have a lot of room to hand something off to your mom or to your dad or sibling. It's just, you have to do everything on your own. Even though that gets annoying at times, I love it.
Yeah, and I mean, I know there's some people who they will still have, like, their parents will still send them money every week, and they have like a college allowance, I guess, which is great for them, but I think also being forced to literally pay for everything out of your own pocket is also an interesting experience.
Yeah, working and doing school at the same time is very hard, and I think we're both very lucky to be doing what we're doing. Obviously, you're doing a lot more than I am, but I think we're lucky that we don't have to go and drive to a location where, like, to a job and work for 5 to 6 hours. Like, we're on our own schedule kind of, which is really nice.
Ooh, safety is a huge thing here, especially living on PCH. I did not realize until this semester how bad it was. I mean, my parents are always telling me, like, be careful, people drive like crazy on PCH, which, I mean, everyone speeds on PCH. It's not, uncommon. But I did not realize how unsafe it was until this semester when we had 4 Pepperdine students die on PCH. And it was a really tragic thing that happened, but I had no idea.
And last year we lived kind of up the hill away from PCH, and now, especially at night when everything is quiet, you hear like
insane sports cars just flying.
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah, it's
not worth it.
It's horrible, and I know that the Malibu police are trying
to do something about it.
Yeah, and I feel like I've been seeing a lot of cops at different turns and along PCH, so that's been awesome. In the midst of all this scary stuff that we talked about, and I think moving here has been the biggest blessing, and although it comes with challenges, it is challenges that build you as a person. And really, I don't know, I think that when I move back home and I start a family, and even when I have kids, I'm going to look back and be so thankful for this time.
Yeah.
Because it's really built me as a person.
Yeah. And I think it's just, in general, a PSA. If you are looking to live in LA, well, here are just some things that you should consider.
Yeah.
For your consideration.
Yeah. Take everything with a grain of salt.
Yeah. Except maybe not the conspiracies. Maybe dive a little deeper on that. Ew.
Yeah.
Oh, you like it.
I'm still very cautious with the conspiracies that you tell me.
That's okay.
But
one is true.
Yeah, but obviously I'm not naive, and I won't be like, no, this is not happening,
Yeah.
I do think that to a certain extent, all of this is going on. I just don't know to what extreme. Is that right?
Yeah. I would love to do an episode on this. Oh, it'd be so entertaining. But
it'd be 2 hours long.
But a lot of people aren't going to listen. Maybe I'll just do it for myself.
Yeah.
I can have my own episode that I can listen to.
There you go. Only for you. It gets one view.
Whole series.
I'm kidding. 2 with me. I'll listen.
Well, anyways, thanks for listening, guys.
Yes, we are going to focus, get our finals done, and then hopefully upload an episode when we are long distance.
We'll have to get used to that.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
Yep.
But I'm excited to be back with you again.
Me too.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.